I'm going to do a video for the red play button app a little bit later because this guy waffled on for ages, but he was telling on himself time and time again. But for the meantime, here's a gist.
This is actually the exact same scenario that I described with a 19-year-old girl wanting to date a 35-year-old man.
No, you didn't. You picked a teenager. You went with the extreme. I picked a 25-year-old woman for a reason. I don't know how much of brain development that you understand, but there was a reason why I said 25.
There is no double standard here. Just like there isn't a double standard here if I say, hey, you shouldn't murder somebody, but I don't get mad at somebody who was murdered.
Oh, look. Another extreme straw man being used. That's interesting.
Is that true? I don't know if I've ever heard the word cougar being used in, like, a serious context.
Personal anecdote, because you've never heard it, it's never been done. Why are women that's 5'1" wanting men over 6 feet?
Can we meet a real woman? Like an actual, in-the-flesh human being? And not assume that these 5'1" girls in viral TikToks are somehow representative of all short women?
Another extreme. No one said all women, did they? A double standard doesn't need to be perpetuated by everyone. Do we know how double standards work? But you acknowledge they exist on TikTok, viral videos, right? You acknowledge them, so you know that they exist. That's interesting too.
Anytime someone tells me that all girls who are 5'1" only want someone over 6 feet...
No one said all girls. You've just invented a lie. Double standards doesn't mean all women. You've gone to the extreme again. So why do so many of us men on dating apps get asked the question, how tall are you?
Look, I understand. I used to be on dating apps as well, and I remember dating apps do not go well for men in general. But again, can we try meeting real people?
So every man that's been on a dating app has been asked about his height and blocked straight afterwards when it's under 6 feet. They're not speaking to real people. That's fascinating. You need to start living into reality, my friend. Your inexperience is absolutely showing.
Because if we're going to assume that people on dating apps are representative of the entire sex...
The assumption is upon you. No one mentioned the entire gender of women. Apart from you. That's called a straw man argument. And now you're basing an argument against me over something I've never said. Wow.
It isn't just because they're celebrities. It's because they're attractive. It's why I didn't list Danny DeVito as one of these short celebrities that all these women would still like to date.
Ah, it's got nothing to do with their celebrity status. Gotcha. Because a celebrity status and fame and money, that would not influence a woman to find them attractive. In no circumstances.
And if it is really just about celebrity status, then please show me the men that say they will not date fat women that are still fawning over Melissa McCarthy and Rosie O'Donnell.
What are you talking about? You've just mentioned people won't date Danny DeVito because he's ugly, but now you're talking about Rosie O'Donnell. With a prerequisite of the men have to say that they wouldn't date fat women first. What's in your cereal? By your own logic, you are saying that women find short men disgusting.
Goddamn, you know, that's true. That by my own logic, that is what I would be saying. Which is why I said exactly that in a comment, May 4th. Yeah, I think it's rude. In response to the question, wouldn't saying I don't date short men also imply they look down on them? The difference is phrasing. Because most of the time when I speak to real women, like in life, the way they phrase this is that they would like to have a boyfriend that's taller than them. And then a lot of men have a tendency to respond to that statement by saying, oh what, but now I can't say that I don't like fat girls? And those two things are not the same statement.
Newsflash. Men have the same thing towards them, about being short. Or don't you want to believe that? Because you've never seen it. Millions of videos of women always talking about what they do and don't like, and it's fine.
Again, can we please get off the internet?
So your argument is they only exist on the internet. But the women on the internet aren't real, remember? That's your argument. That is your counter-argument.
You're right that there isn't the same focus on body positivity in public towards overweight men, but overweight men are treated very differently than overweight women, at least from a public standpoint.
Here's the fun part. He keeps going on about, meet real women. And every single argument he's using celebrities. Here's the fun part. He's going to point out a double standard that aims towards women now. Shall I tell him it doesn't exist?
Top 50 most famous fat actors of all time. Let's see how many ladies can pop up. Okay, there's one. Carney Wilson. Man, that's a man.
I just deleted a whole minute of him scrolling the internet.
That was not objective at all, so do not take it as such, but this is probably something that you already instinctively knew, which is that there seem to be a lot more fat male celebrities than there are fat female celebrities.
Congratulations. You've just identified a double standard. You've just made up a hypothetical to dismiss what he's saying.
No, I wasn't. I was making up a hypothetical because I was trying to see what his point was to begin with.
I could disagree with him here, or I can let him prove himself wrong.
Because I couldn't really understand how he was saying that men are not allowed to set boundaries. In my view, a boundary is something like, hey, I don't like it when you joke about my mom. Please don't do that.
And just notice how he's used a very soft boundary to compare it with.
Example of men telling women that they're not allowed to hang out with their friends is something that I often hear men call a boundary, but is really just controlling behavior. And it was the only thing I could think of that this man might have been referring to when he was saying that men are not allowed to set boundaries.
To be fair, I agree with you on one thing. If men turn around and say that, she shouldn't be allowed to go out with her friends and that's a boundary, I'm not a fan of that myself. But is that really the only one that you could think of? Really? Or did you just jump to the extreme again? Because, clicks and likes. I mean, you did just say this yourself.
In my view, a boundary is something like, hey, I don't like it when you joke about my mom.
Unless you can tell me you couldn't think of one single boundary between what you said and what you assumed he was on about, then my point stands. You jumped to the extreme. Interesting.
But if that's not what he was talking about, and that's not what you're talking about, it would be helpful if I knew what this example was that women are allowed to do, but men are not.
He's got in the captions there, in yellow. Neither of them explain this. The thing is, the guys who have experienced it, they know. Guys who just assume the worst, like yourself, don't know. Hopefully, that stays like that for the rest of your life. Unlikely, but I can hope for you.
Not.
You can't make a whole rebuttal video and end it with, I was genuinely unaware that this even existed.
That's not a rebuttal. That's me asking the people watching, like you, if this double standard exists, to please explain it to me.
I did, in a 10-minute video, which seemed to get up your back and you didn't like it, hence why I'm responding to this stitch right now. As far as you can tell is something that you say quite often. Well, let me tell you something. As far as you can tell, you should realise that the whole world doesn't evolve around you and there's other people out there that have different experiences to what you have. You've basically made a whole video going, I don't see it, therefore it doesn't exist. Apart from the people on TikTok and social media who do exactly the stuff that these guys are talking about, but they're not real women. And then you kind of assume that we're on about all women, when you can't be that daft. You know damn well sure it's never going to be all women. It blows my mind, but way to prove my point. In the first video I said that you make up stuff and use extremes to kind of validate what you're saying. You've just done exactly the same again. Once again putting words in people's mouths and creating scenarios that were never discussed. It's fun, it's been fun, I've enjoyed it, thanks. But the fact that you've gone through so much effort to try and convince people that double standards don't exist, while you're actually displaying double standards yourself, whilst you're acknowledging double standards but you're finding excuses for them, no, those women in the internet, they're not real women. Those women on dating apps, they're not real women. You know they exist, you're admitting they exist, you're just trying to find excuses. And I find it hilarious. Anyway, good luck to you.